guys, and welcome to 2018 CAT Teroscope and my review for 2018. This is a general review. I want to see all signs and I want to see what the general energy will be. So it's worth to mention that we are also entering a year number 11. 11s are very spiritual. Aquarius rules number 11. This is not to say that everybody reaches 11's potential. You see, in numerology we have 1 to 9, and then we have special numbers 11 and 22. These numbers are given mastery. They're given special abilities in achieving certain things. These abilities are not given because we were born in that. We have to really work hard throughout our lives to really deserve them. For example, most 11s are going to spend most of their life up to their, I would say, 40s or maybe even 50s, really baking their trade and being exposed to all kind of circumstances. In tarot, justice, strength, because these two cards are in tarot kind of changeable in different decks, are 11. However, I also associate the High Priestess with 11. She is represented with the Roman 2, which to me does look like 11. 11 is a number of illumination. So 1 is a leader. 1 is a leader of the leaders, but also 1 plus 1 is 2. So check it out. In 11 we have unity of leadership and softness. Hence 11s are trained to be healers all their lives. As you can imagine, I'm a number 11, and I'm telling you this from experience on my own skin. It took me really up to recently to really realize how things should be positioned, and yet I don't have all the answers. I am still continuing to work on them. So now as I was laying down these cards, as you have seen, and I did put them on a fast, we do have 11 that reappeared, or appeared rather to say, and we do have the Master, which is 22. We also have a 2 over here, and we also have 1 over here, and we also have 0, which is kind of like a baseline. So it is really confirming that numerological number 2, year number 2, which is also going to be really good year for everybody who is a number 2, because you see, we 11s will live most of our lives as number 2. Number 2 means that we have to learn how to cooperate with others, but not to suck up to them and not to give in to them. Learn how to have our own spine while still actually accomplishing our things. This is really hard, and I really believe that that was like the guiding principle behind the Greek what do you call it, councils, right? Because first of all, you had to be 45 to enter it, and then that was assumed that you have learned lessons on your own skin, and hence you'll be able to better kind of handle them. So the very first card that came out from Earth Magic Oracle cards is Autumnal Equinox. Autumnal Equinox. We say fall here in North America, and release. So let's call it fall equinox. So what do we really see here? It's kind of interesting because I kind of like aligned this and wanted to interpret this sort of like as per quarters as well as globally, but it was kind of really interesting. This was the very first card that appeared, and in many areas of the world, trees prepare for the winter and conserve their energy by contracting their life force, right? Which is they release their leaves, which have required the rays of the sun and nourishment from the earth in order to maintain robust growth and appearance. It is kind of like not a decision that trees will make, at least not in the usual sense, right? Instead, it's a natural response to the decreasing cycle of light that sets up the gradual and steady release of the tree's leaves. How remarkable it is that these trees, and actually for that matter, all of the Earth Mother's children, simply know what to do with the changes in climate. Don't you wonder how sometimes it would be so nice to be programmed and know how to do and when? Although this seasonal shift appears to be a death of sorts, it's only a preparation for the next cycle of life, one that we naturally follow the more extreme contraction of winter, as kind of an aspect of the life, death, rebirth cycle, right, that we find is represented in so many different ways. So, being the first card, and after shuffling, I kind of stopped this and I was thinking, okay, how do I put this together? So I think this is what it means. To start out the year, it's the time to let anything in our life fall away that is no longer useful or needed for the emerging expression of who you are. You see, let's go back to that number 11. I just told you, I had to live most of my life, and most of the time, I will live as a number 2. In order to live as number 11, you really have to figure out what is important. And 99% of the things will not be important. So this is also telling us, right, that we have to shed what has become burdensome and what no longer is congruent with our soul's purpose. We need to conserve our energy by allowing ourselves more rest, while at the same time making preparations for the following seasons. In this case will be winter season. So interestingly enough, the very first quarter here is a winter, and it's asking us to kind of let go, especially look in material possessions. What is the guys that you don't really need? Because number 11 is very altruistic. They are not motivated by money. Be really brutally honest with yourself, because you have to figure out what you can give away and what has to be released, right? This card also tells me that we should consider shedding relationships that possibly serve their purpose and they're no longer viable, as well as work or a job that maybe has become devoid of interest and passion. With release comes a sense of being much lighter. I guess just like these trees, and they're kind of like openly naked as their leaves kind of departed from them. Life is ready to birth following a period of being quiet and going through gestation. So let go of whatever has outlived its purposefulness, I would say, and trust that something else will take its place. So I always advise, clean your closets, clean your house, make a room for something else, because it's just not possible to add more things in a glass that is full. We all keep saying, oh, I want this, oh, I want that, but then where is the room to place this? You have to understand that physically and spiritually we kind of like react in a similar way. We have to have a space to kind of place this in. And my Cat Tarot people, you, yes you are here because you do want to become a better person. And you are a better person just by listening to this, just by doing the small changes. It takes so little to change this world. And together we can do it. It takes literally one person to actually start the motion. And I think we are moving in this direction because the second card was crystals and focus. One of my favorite cards because my personal favorite color is purple. And this is an amethyst crystal cave that's sort of like bathing in the river or water. And also what I really like here are these kind of points of light, right? And this is kind of indicating that it has a spiritual and healing force. And the crystals do have this special, let's call it, magic, right? they have been used many years for decoration, but like in particular purple has been used by royalty and by clergy because it also had the higher purpose, which was to connect us with our purpose and who we are supposed to be and open up our psychic capabilities. So since the violet color is the same as the crown chakra, it has often been referred to as a spiritual stone. So the nature of quartz crystals, the second most common element in the Earth's crust, is they help focus the power of our life, force, or spirit. And where attention goes, power flows, and crystals magnify this power tenfold. Our intention influences where our attention goes. When we are consciously aware of our attention, it facilitates the focus of the spiritual power and also supports the manifestation in reality. So, if you only heard blah, 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 I get it. First of all, you're going to be provided a link, and it's a quick link to Amazon where you can get yourself an amethyst crystal. I highly advise you do that because it's simply a stone that makes you think, makes you wonder. Just by sitting in front of you, it's going to give you a direction. It's the stone that rules us instead of us ruling the stone. So this is telling me it is time to bring our complete focus to the subject that we really want. So of course we cannot put something new in the house unless we clean it. So we are starting with that motion, and then we are really thinking what we want. Whether this is a project, relationship, or simply a relaxing time that we want to spend walking in the nature, we have to kind of like realize that we need to be present for it. And we need to kind of like really release our wishes to the universe. So the crown chakra is the top chakra that kind of opens up. That's why people say love and light, because through crown chakra, through the spine, that light enters and helps us to kind of go in this direction that we want. And it has to be free. So you can get the circulation of light by actually, and connect to your karma, by actually having the small steps, as I'm telling you, by focusing and clearing it. This is actually going to help us have this crystal clarity, as they say, right? And be in the flow of life force and have actually become one with it. So then our wish is not going to be some wish, something that is somewhere else written, you know, or what they say, Dr. Phil, just write like, what you want and just like wait for it to happen. It doesn't work this way. You have to be realistic with yourself. You have to see what you cleared. You have to see what possible issues you had. Did you handle too many things at once? Do you need to kind of like focus on fewer things than usual? So guys, keep your eyes, ears, and heart focused on that what you need to pay attention to, and miracles can be created. I do wish you to focus on 2 or 3 things. And I do not advise to focus on, let's say, a person. I would focus on a concept. If this is love and spiritual union, I would say, I need to create that. This is my focus. Once when you go into, he has to be 6 feet tall, she has to be blonde, thin model, you're wasting the gifts that the universe can shower you. Because everybody gets what is perfect for us at the time for our learning lesson. Because we have these soulmates coming, but we also have a spiritual contract, or as I call it, the karma contract. You guys have all received a special offer for karmic contract to figure out what you can actually fix and what you can actually pay attention to, because it does help. For me, I wish I had that done for myself, because I kept repeating one mistake after another. I kept meeting the same person in a different body and repeating my mistakes until it finally, I had that tower moment and exploded in my face. And by the way, we do not have the tower the entire year. Isn't this awesome? So look at that. It kind of like makes sense that the next phase would be this rainbow. And isn't this something that we always, and I don't know which one of you doesn't stop in awe by seeing something so beautiful? So what is rainbow? It is created by the collaboration of sunlight and water in the atmosphere. You can do it yourself simply, right? By washing the car. So what happens? The water droplets become tiny prisms that collectively diffuse and disperse light onto a ribbon of colors, right? And then we see every hue that we are capable of seeing on this planet. So rainbows symbolize many things, right? Including good luck, bridge to heavens, and abundance. It is really difficult for any of us to ignore the majesty of rainbow, right? And this gentle power. It is like almost like gods are smiling at us. So when you see the rainbow, the storm has passed, and it is time to enjoy the refreshing beauty of this cycle. Maybe even if times have been difficult, even if clearance of things basically wanted us to kind of deal with, things that maybe we didn't want to deal. If we did that, we are going to be rewarded, right? Don't just look at, quote unquote, the brighter side, because this is called also blessings. Don't try to adhere to some, academic mantra that has no heart and has no depth. I hear people repeating their positive affirmations. Let me tell you, it doesn't work. So instead, show your genuine gratitude in words and in deeds to the other people. This ever-evolving process of life itself is a blessing, and it is an opportunity to exist as a human being on Earth. Our planet is truly a beautiful garden. Let's keep it. We are so close to destruction, guys. Do you know that not a single psychic, not a single, as they call them, eye-seers, see this planet past year 2100? Most of us are parents. We would like our children to have their children and so on and so forth. But it is on us and upon us to kind of give love to the planet, because planet was giving this love to us all along. So even though, as I said, this planet is possibly a really beautiful garden, maybe sometimes doesn't appear to be so. Sometimes all we see is wars and issues, right? Now keep thinking about the blessings. And as far as blessings, I want you to bless your difficult or even painful experiences and let them go. I think this is sort of a second call. And then new things will happen. The very last card here that I have is a new moon. And I love this new moon because it comes with this like such a loving couple gazing the romantic sunset. So it is a time for the new beginning. 11 year after all is going to help all of you who are willing to be light workers. Yeah, and this is what makes my channel different. I don't just give you some quick get together, or he's going to leave you, he's going to come back and not to come back. Yes, you get that part as well. But this is the key part, because we are an army of do-gooders. We are an army of people who can actually move us forward. And for those of you who do really want to do that, it's a promise that we are going in this direction. So whether this is to help others, to go to the higher realm, to launch a project, a new relationship, or a new something that kind of has been tucked away for a later date, this is the time. We did set intention. We did kind of give our blessings. And now it is a time to emerge. And anything that has been in the dark, maybe some of us wonder, will this ever happen? Rest assured, do this job, do this work that I have asked you to do, and it will happen. The next step, this step as a new moon, is to put into action what is required to fully realize this idea. Because as you know, moon has the phases, right? It initiates another lunar circle, right? It's moving from darkness to fullness and then back again over approximately 1 month. I don't know, it's like 28.5 to 29 days. The promise is that the moon is going to be there, right? As long as the moon exists. So whatever the new project is, it has to be done on healthy grounds, because obviously we have been asked so many times over this year to do it. This is number 11. I told you, number 11 is not an easy number, but it gives you numerous rewards if you're willing to do the work. You will not believe the red carpet treatment. And it is just like that. You're going to say, oh my gosh, I'm rewarded for who I am, for just being nice to people. So this card promise has two meanings. It can be a commitment and guarantee to yourself or someone else that a particular thing will happen, or it can imply that something specific is expected to happen. When you align your will with the will of spirit, and when you focus upon what you wish to have happen, then this promise will be kept. So I was going into so many details about these 4 cards because as I noticed this waterfall down in the other decks, it kind of like summarized really succinctly really the rest of the story. So let me explain. Look at this. In the other cards, what do we have? In tarot, we have major arcana and minor arcana. There is a huge difference. Arcana means secrets. And those are those universal secrets that we are here to actually go and get through the dark and get into the light and kind of like move into the better life. Third eye chakra came out. The crystals came out. That message repeated. And so did the solar plexus chakra, which is the center, which kind of regulates both our connection with the other people and our ability to give the confidence, as well as our comfort with that we can handle daily tasks. So we have transformation, we have awareness, we have balance, we have trust, we have completion, and we have the master. I have to tell you, I am so beyond impressed what kind of cards we have. So let me give you sort of like a little information about the first quarter. The first quarter is going to be some kind of transformation. So in the other decks, this card is called Death card. And that card with itself carries that mission. Sort of like it can be very ominous, kind of like and strange and harsh, but can also be a beginning of a new phase, such as death of pregnancy is the beginning of a child. So hence it's kind of very joyful occasion, right? So it's asking us to release what doesn't work and actually see what we can do differently. Because remember, if you keep doing the same things over and over, we cannot expect different results. It's also asking us to kind of like attend to new vitality. Look at that. This is also a purple card. And I don't know if you can see it with the sliding, but again, it's connecting to this like 2 chakra sort of like focuses that we need to have, telling me, and there is this rainbow motive again, telling me that maybe if we need to kind of go to a new fitness routine, or if we want to exercise, we kind of have to kind of like realize what we neglected, because it's reversed. And so is this card. Awareness reversed, again, look at that. It's again telling us about this crown chakra. Again, it's telling us about the magic and about certain things that we should be able to connect and to create. So when awareness is reversed, just like new vitality, this is kind of telling me that some of us are not really aware, and maybe we have been going through some kind of suffering. And suffering is very much like stale water, right? When you drink water, everything seems to be okay. Leave it in a glass, it's going to get icky and yucky. So we need to kind of at least kind of acknowledge what we need to release in order to know how to transform. And then we are giving the tools how to do that. And creator here is basically the Zen master. Look what he has. He has the solar plexus chakra, right? So this card invites us to basically recognize and participate in understanding that, you know, everybody who mastered these kind of fires, the solar plexus, these are the fires of passion, right? This is the person who is able to kind of create a better thing for themselves and for everybody else. Because as you know, without fire, it will be hard to survive. And sometimes also fire can go out of control. So it has to be integrated, that there is no longer any difference between who this person is inside or who we are inside and in the world outside. So that's generally the gift of understanding and integration, right? So the gift of light that I was telling you about. So this is King of Fire or King of Wands, that tells us that anything that we undertake now with the understanding that all that we want to undertake, what has to come from maturity, will bring enrichment to our own lives and to the lives of others. Using whatever skills you have, whatever you have learned from your own life experience, it is a time to express yourself. So this card here tells me that must be some kind of hidden masterpiece inside of you guys. Maybe it was on a back burner. Maybe you were told you cannot create it. Because this is generally in the other decks called a magician, who can create anything. And then it's saying, oh no, I cannot do it. Maybe we convinced ourselves we cannot do it. Maybe others convinced us that we cannot do it. But this is telling us, yes, you can. You're carrying a masterpiece hidden within you, but you're standing in a way. So just move aside and the masterpiece will be revealed, right? So everyone is a masterpiece, because God never gives birth to anything less than that. Everyone carries that masterpiece hidden from many lives, not knowing who they are and just trying on the surface to become someone. So how to do it? Drop the idea of becoming someone, because you already are that masterpiece. You cannot be improved. You have only to come to it, to know, to realize it. So it is understanding that what you are bringing to the table is important, and that what you're bringing to the table should be honored, that what you're bringing to the table should be respected. It is how we do it, how we say it. And I would say for some of you, that will be also some people that we possibly need to get rid of. People, relationships, and stuff. Oh my gosh, especially if you live in North America or Europe, or I would say Australia, sort of like the first world countries, I would say, we have so much stuff. And there are so many people who don't have them. So guys, let's transform. Let's see what is important. In the second quarter, when we need to focus, we will be challenged. And this is what happens with number 11. And we have this balance. Any imbalance is going to be corrected. Look at that. We have the circular motion here yet again, right? So it's like 3-4 times that we have it here. So we kind of like have to realize that we probably already have everything we need to have. And Nine of Fire is talking about a strategy. Here is talking about focus, the spiritual growth. But hey, just because we focus and sit in front of the fireplace and we want the soulmate to arrive, hey, unless we do something, unless we, let's say, get ourselves in shape, kind of create the profile, go and meet other people, it's not going to happen. So this is talking about some kind of strategy, some kind of like creation of it, even though maybe that didn't work in the past. And I think this is why this came back, saying maybe certain things didn't look in the past, but maybe just a small shift in a different direction will actually bring us to different results. This is not all about just winning and losing, right? This is about the heart. This is about what is the good for us. Especially this applies to people who are in some kind of like 3 people situation. Resolve it. Do you know how? Get out of it. It's as simple as that. Nobody needs to suffer. This definitely card says that there is suffering that is kind of included. So it's asking you to transform out of that suffering. You are right to demand the truth, because look at that. She's steering it. She's demanding the truth. She wants to let this light in, right? She wants to ground herself. And it is not all about the victory, but I think this card in here is saying that we have to redefine it. This victory should be about ourselves. This card here, again, is basically what happens when we don't know how to balance things properly. When, you know, we forget that our mind is meant to be a servant, and we allow our mind to run our lives. Look at this head. It's filled with all kinds of mechanisms, and this mouth is ranting and raving, right? And the whole surrounding atmosphere is kind of being polluted, as you can see. But this I don't know, what is this, factory, I guess, chimneys, but it's probably talking about factory of arguments and opinions. I don't know how often you guys to go to Facebook, Instagram, television, chat rooms. Everybody has their own 2 cents, and everybody has to have a snarky, smart comments, because simply we feel in a world that is kind of like really intruding upon of us. But also we partially are responsible for ourselves, right? Some of us can say, hey, wait, the mind is what makes us human. It's the source of all progress. It's the source of all truths. It's like what makes humans better than anybody else. Well, if you believe that, try an experiment. Go into your room, shut the door, turn on a tape recorder, and give yourself total permission to say whatever it is, quote unquote, on your mind. If you really allow it to all come out without any censorship or editing, you'll be amazed at the amount of rubbish that comes out of our mouths, right? So this is the Page of Clouds, or Page of Swords. And it's telling us that somebody somewhere is stuck in a head, or in a head trip. So take a good look and make sure this isn't you. If you're guys dealing with somebody like that, who is trying to force some kind of control or their vision of truth, because these 3 cards are very kind of like mind cards. These are air cards. Look at this. Air, 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 air. So to me, what is amazing about that is that the lots of, from the first 6 months, will be in the realm of thinking. So this is going to be very, very important to address, that we don't overthink, that we actually have to go with emotional response, where we already know where we don't feel right, and simply figure out what better ways we can go about it. Maybe what is the better partner for us, and what is the better situation for us. Seeking the truth, I more or less see what is the truth for us. I think these 2 faces, these 2 minds, are our mind, because sometimes we think one way and then somebody else convinces us into something else. Nothing wrong about that. It is okay to change your mind. Now, this is the card that tells you that sometimes people can be sneaky, and if you really know who you are, and knowing who you are is coming from our solar plexus, so I would advise solar plexus chakra exercises, sitting in the sun, that kind of things, because you see, she's kind of letting that thing come through. Then we would know if somebody is telling us the truth, if this is also our truth. And if it isn't, we are just going to let go of that. So this is not about winning against somebody, but it's, again, I reiterate, winning ourselves, because we will be so close to completing that journey, to kind of putting this last puzzle in who we want to be, that it's going to be almost like you can almost touch it, you can almost feel it, and yet it's going to be some kind of wall, because this card came reversed. We will still need to put the final touches, because to become a number 11, to live number 11, you're always and always and always being challenged. You're always being thrown something else. So just don't say, oh, well, I did this easy exercise and something else happened and now I don't want to do it. This is what kind of year is going to be. Huge benefits, but going to be lots of work. You cannot give up, because the completion is very near. This like Mona Lisa smile, this everything is right here. We cannot go back, guys. We can only go forward. And I wish that all of us go forward in a much better us. So this is the last call for us to walk away from things that don't work. Look, is this kind of chest of money or old memories or something that we have accumulated with somebody so important if somebody is not treating us right? Did you ever ask yourself, is there something else out there better for you? Did you ever ask yourself if you trust yourself and if you want something better? Did you ever ask yourself why you haven't done certain things? Why didn't you open your arms and fly? Trust reversed, or the Fool card reversed, tells me that maybe there is still a concept that has been lost on us, even in the third quarter of the 2018. Remember, you can only go to third eye chakra if you conquer all the other chakras. In particular, two of them will be very prominent. Also, what I find interestingly is like these two colors are also opposing colors on the spectrum. So 11 means, as I told you, there are two ones, leaders of the leaders, but also a very feminine principle. This is kind of very difficult, meaning you can say very, very harsh words to someone. It is how you say it. And it is to say it really, with real intention to help them and them understanding that this is what you're doing. But rewards, guys, are astonishing, right? Not only do we have this spiritual union, but we also have this Master card. So what is the spiritual union, guys? This is a soulmate card, but not kind of like any cheesy soulmate card. This is like a really, really good one. This is like when you kind of look at this again in the third eye, you connect with someone. For those of you who did your work, who didn't kind of tuck things away, just continue things the same old, those of you will be actually uniting with somebody. Maybe you already have a relationship that has been suffering. Maybe some of us will have this relationship that was more or less based on somebody always upping us one, or somebody always needing to look better or needing to be admired, or we felt that somebody's taking away maybe our peace of mind, maybe money. But we have been working all year long to shed this, to get to this union. And guess what? Number 22. We have mastered it. So the master is Zen, is not a master over others, but the master of himself. And I don't know if you can see it, this also is a purple card. So his every gesture and his every word reflect his enlightened state. So as I told you, he has no private goals, right? So he has no desire that anything should be other than the way it is. His disciples basically gather around him, not to follow him, but simply to soak up the presence and be inspired, simply to learn. This is somebody who who doesn't do things because he thinks he has to create something. It's somebody who just really enjoys, and he kind of doesn't mind sharing what he or she has. If you guys find such a master, somebody who can help you along your path, who can guide you, you're going to come to that spot yourself really, really fast, and you'll be blessed. If you can't, keep on searching, because by the end of the year, you're supposed to get there. So keep on moving, guys. So 2018, I actually pulled one more card, which I haven't shuffled in front of everybody, but it's this one. Oops. Loyal Heart. And I'm going to read to you what it says. It has a number of layered messages, and I really like to see two owls, right? Two owls represents wisdom, but in this case represents the heart. So it says this: evidence of loyalty will appear in your life. By the way, Aquarians and number 11 is known for loyalty. And if you're telling me, oh my gosh, Kat, what are you talking about? I know this Aquarius and he or she cheated on me. Yeah, that's a number 2. That's a very beginning existence, because they were supposed to spread their wings and fly. They still haven't reached that. But this is for other people who did their work, right? So altogether, this year is going to have this flavor that others will prove faithful to us, and we will in turn be able to fully commit to them. So there is a sure and abiding certainty in your heart. Know that Spirit is always loyal to you. No matter the outer circumstances in your life, trust and have faith, for you are eternally loved, always divinely protected and divinely directed. For the relationship, it says, your partnership, friendships, and romantic relationships will have many qualities in common right now. Honest devotion, faithfulness, and a loyal heart are being shown to you. Are you as loyal in return? Now is the time for heartfelt commitments and trusting in divine protection. Prosperity message. Your long-term loyalty to your goals is becoming evident in the world of conditions, where your aspirations for success assume form in reality. Success is finally taking shape. If you are loyal to your dreams, faithful to your plans, while remaining flexible and devoted to serving others, you will be shown proof of your true prosperity. This is a time for a joyful celebration of Spirit and manifesting a partner. And lastly, we also get protection message. Are you stubborn, or are you overly tenacious about an idea? Or have you become so attached to something that you just don't know how to let it go? Could it be that it's become so much a part of you that you don't want to know, or you wouldn't know who you are without it? Now it is time to look at outdated beliefs, old ideas, and misplaced loyalties. Betrayal is only a signal that it is time to prune away all who don't deserve your trust and have no place in your life. Be new, think new, and open your heart to new things. Let go of the old and all your attachments. Spirit has awesome plans for you. Make some room. So guys, as you can see, this talks about betrayal. It's talking about that maybe we have been betrayed, and maybe we are betraying ourselves. This is asking us to let go of the past. This is asking us that if something is out of balance, because this is a karmic number and it is a number 11, that things eventually will be in balance. We eventually will have this trust. We eventually will open our arms, and things will come. Things will come. We need to kind of get the strength in who we are, what we want, and then walk away from things that are not important, that no longer serve us. Let bygones be bygones, and get rid of the people who upset you. And if you spend time being upset or mulling over certain issues, it's not going to serve the purpose. The best cause of action, put its finishing touches and say, hey, Thank you. Thank you for being a part of my journey. It is time for me to move on. And I'm moving on because I'm becoming the master. I do love you. However, my love has to be given to somebody else at this point. So thank you guys for this general introduction. Now we are going to go in particular signs. Hi Cancer, this is Kat and welcome to your 2018 annual Kat Teroscope. So it is going to be a fantastic year for you guys, I have to say. You do have to amount to this year number 11, and it's going to be kind of interesting kind of how you get there. I have divided this very much like in the general reading in the 4 quarters, so we can kind of like see what needs to be done, what kind of work needs to be done, and what do we need to accomplish. First of all, I want to point certain things out to you, that we got these 2 things. We got base chakra and we got crown chakra. You have heard love and light, probably from the other people. I don't know if you ever ask yourself what this means. You see, the theory is that we are light beings, and that this light actually penetrates and kind of goes through us and kind of guides us through our basically spiritual journey, whatever you want to call it, right? And by kind of being guided, I'm sorry, I just have to do this. By being guided, we learn a whole bunch of different things. Now, when I see these kind of 2 things here for you, I know that you have to start opening this, and it's kind of interesting because you'll be opening from the base chakra, establishing yourself, and finishing up with a crown chakra. So you're almost like doing entire inner renovations. This tells me you're ripping everything up. You're ripping and removing anything didn't work. It goes to upgrade this year. So let's start. The very first card that you got is DNA. Karma. So, what is karma? Karma is a concept in many Eastern religions. It's a concept that implies the greater universal laws of cause and effect, right? Providing an implied code of ethics within the structure, right? It means, it means literally rebirth, like that's what we call it samsara, which we experience throughout our lives. Many of us walk up, not just like to see the day, but we literally walk up many times in our lives, and it was never the same. It always was going in a different direction. You see, the mistaken notion about karma is that it's some kind of punishment. It's kind of far from that. In fact, in its purest form, it simply asserts that our conduct in this lifetime will determine our next incarnation. It also has come to mean how our behavior and actions in this lifetime create consequences in a slightly different version of the golden rule. We not only carry our soul's karma into this lifetime, but also it's embedded in the complex coding of our DNA, which is our genetic ancestral karma. So this double helix structure of DNA that we see here, right, contains codes, right, that we keep passing from our parents and grandparents, right, from our ancestors. Therefore, we have some of the genetic information that comes from the DNA from very, very early humans. So in this card, these two intertwined serpents that you see here basically are giving this esoteric kind of like knowledge, right? Because it is just like understanding too that it kind of takes more than that, variations. This is kind of like archetypal image that exists in many cultures. It's kind of traditional and contemporary, right? So I have a feeling that when we see these serpents with these double helixes on either side, then variations like of that is going to be applied to you this year. So the fundamental substance of life that provides that substantial determination on the life path will be changed. You know, repairing DNA. So aspects of your soul entered your primitive physical self long before you had begun to take form. You know, that's what they say when the life starts. Is it the moment of conception or is it later? I really believe that life really starts later because the physical development doesn't equal soul development, and the soul enters our womb later. And we don't necessarily come from our biological parents. So this is going to be year and one of those times we're going to actually learn that. You're going to have many questions, answers to how come I'm so different in this family, or how come I'm such a black sheep in this family? Well, maybe you're like from a different soul, basically, planet. So it is going to be your higher self that is going to wake you up. But the choice will be up to you, because every time that you basically heed the guidance of your higher self, no matter what etheric or physical form it takes, human consciousness will be elevated. You guys will be elevated. You can choose to do nothing about that. But in a sense, it becomes a choice between destiny and fate. This is that definition of karma over here, guys. So the next thing that I see here in the sun quarter is kind of like a reawakening of this base chakra. As you can see, these serpents are going up your spine over here as well. And they're like pushing you. And I don't think this is talking about you being punished or you being rewarded. It's literally saying to you guys, one book finished, you're opening a new book. You're opening a completely new chapter to who you are and where you want to be. So the base chakra is the bottom, like it's really where our the bottom of our body is, like where anus is, and this is like where literally the light has to come in. This is kind of like pushing it. It's going in a different direction. This tells me that you might even change your jobs, and because the second card was like firm foundations, but it was reversed. You see, when we have the pain in this part of our body, we have this pain because we are afraid of moving forward, because everything looks like so big, so overwhelming for us. When this is reversed, we are even more fearful about what the future brings. Maybe we are not healing, because this is the healing begins card. Look at her. She really is shining in her heart chakra. But guys, allow this to happen. Karma works in mysterious ways. By thinking and working in your base chakra, which means maybe wearing red underwear. I have energy sessions on my site. You can look into that. Doing Reiki, doing meditation. In a Maslow hierarchy of needs, that will be this base chakra. This is dealing with your survival, dealing with your identity, dealing with who you are. You might actually come up with a completely new image for you. You might move. You might change your jobs. You will literally kind of like heal all the wounds. I have a feeling that maybe to some extent you kind of feel a little bit like a Swiss cheese, and all these wounds and all these holes are making an imprint. This is karma in a sense, but I think in this first quarter you will be really, really working on to kind of plugging them in with a proper material. because by the end of these 3 months, by the end of the March, you guys will rejoice. You will learn who your friends are. You will learn what is important. For you, stability this year is going to be extremely, extremely important. How to find direction where you want to go. Like, I know you're Cancer. I know you like to go back. I know, like, you kind of experience the old things. But in this particular year, you will really be pushed forward. And of course, for you, it's kind of like hard to make this jump and sudden jumps. So hence, you're going to work each and every step of the way on stabilizing yourself, getting in control, and kind of like understanding the lay of the land. When we get to the second quarter, so let's say 1st of April on, you're getting deeper. Like, this is a lots of work. This is like a lots of physical and emotional work here. And then you're emotionally going to feel well. Like, by the time you hit Pisces, oh my gosh, guys, you're going to feel really, really well. But then you're going to go and ask yourself, have I really done all the homework, right? So iceberg, right? Up to 90% of iceberg's body is below the surface. We always see on the internet, look what lies underneath, like majority of it, right? So, like, iceberg is something that breaks off from a glacier or ice shelf, right? And it kind of floats along the sea. And of course, it's very scary for all the vessels that are trying to traverse their passageways, right? So many of us have heard stories of ships that kind of like had bad encounters with these ice mountains, basically, right? You had a mountain here, there is like an ice mountain. I have a feeling this is something inside of you that you guys really need to work on. So whatever you suppress or deny and attempt to keep out of possibly conscious awareness will show up somewhere and somehow. These are your shadow aspects, Cancer. At one time, you maybe did put them out of your consciousness for a good reason, yet they did remain and contained somewhere hidden, because you know how to hide it even from yourself. This is more or less talking to me about shame and guilt. What are you ashamed of? What are you guilty of? Think about it, because these are those submerged aspects of yourself that are projected onto others. So they mirror those stuff that we denied and suppress to ourselves. And hence, we harshly judge these characteristics when they're exhibited. So ask yourself in your life, who is annoying you? Who is frustrating you? And what is about them that frustrates them a lot? I used to have a grandmother that always would say, yeah. It was kind of really weird, and in time it became very annoying. So I just didn't want to be ridiculous, but say I wanted to stop saying this word. So each time she said, yeah, I said, yay. And she said to me, why are you doing this? You're always saying this, yay. So you see, she didn't realize her own stuff. So I literally mirror her. So sometimes it's really good to see what other people do that to you, because maybe you're not even aware of that. It's good to look deep down in it, right? Because it is a time to allow these elements to surface and embrace them. Maybe you don't love part of yourself. Maybe you, I don't know, hate other fat people, and maybe you're afraid that you're going to get there. Maybe you have to ask yourself then, okay, if that's the situation, what is it in me that I feel I would not be lovable if I have a few pounds more, or if I am 5 inches shorter, you know, whatever, fill in the blanks sort of a thing, right? So whatever you have submerged deep inside of you, this now, the second quarter, is your opportunity to pay attention to those things and welcome them to this family that is called, well, you. So what else do we have here? We have, interestingly enough, what's going to come up for you will be partnerships and alliances. I think if you're dealing with anything that is less of this, not only giving your hand, but holding it on, pulling somebody up, maybe something fell apart for you. Maybe your life didn't turn into what you wanted to turn into. Maybe you kind of like had bigger bigger plans for you. You know how they say life happens while you're making different plans. Maybe somebody let you down. Maybe it was a third person that somehow came in and complicated your life. This doesn't have to be cheating. This can simply be a person who, maybe an ex, somebody who is simply controlling your life by extension. And maybe you are going to address what is in this person and what is in this situation that made you feel trapped. What is that you kind of resent in this situation? You're going to, for once, let it all out. Let it out, deal with this, and address it. Ask yourself, why is this bothering me? Because you guys, you're coming to yourself. This is you. This is the Chariot. In this deck is called Move. And isn't this better? Because in this deck is saying, look at this. These two hands that maybe somebody didn't offer their hand to you. Maybe somebody was slow to grab you when you were falling, and you have fallen, and it was not soft fall. And maybe you're still dusting off and recovering, and maybe it did have financial implications. Maybe it did have emotional implications. But you did see some kind of like gray lining in all of that, or silver lining, what they call it. You are going to be dealing with that submerged emotion, something that is still brewing on the inside. And then, just like that, my dear Cancer, you'll move. You'll move to this new energy. You're going to get this kind of new connections, this new programming. This light that entered you here, and it's entering you by working on all these steps. Each step of the way is pushing this light through your base chakra. And then, finally, you're ready. You're ready to move. And you're moving into maturity. This is something long-term. What you got from facing it, and the exercises I do with my patients and with my clients, is simply, okay, let's do the fear exercise. What is that you hate about yourself? And what is that you fear the most? Well, I don't know. I fear the cheating is going to happen. Or, I don't know. I hate how I look. Or, I hate that I'm not the most successful guy. Facing it and playing it right in your head, this is actually what already happened, then it's gone. It doesn't have that energy. It doesn't have this over you. And all of a sudden, just like that, a new you is born. With a gusto, with a zesta. Because this is basically a strong, very strong combination. This is something that is going to happen very fast. You know Cancers yourself. When you move, oh my gosh, you move very fast and you are unstoppable. But when you don't move, right, it is kind of like not fun at all. So this time around, you guys are moving into something very, very, very long term. And it is kind of like amazing. You're getting this light card, which is really good. There is like the sense of clarity. But this is not the clarity of some kind that you had to go through heavy-duty books to get there, right? It is dealing with wealth and with basically instinctual parts of who we are, right? Because the wolves are basically sisters and brothers, right, of our basically domesticated dogs, right? But they are really known for loyalty, companionship, playfulness, and affection. They're kind of exceptional parents, and they do take great care of their young. So, of course, there's similarities with wolves and domesticated dogs, particularly in certain breeds, but dogs are tamed and very, very distant relatives, and they have long ago transferred their loyalty and pack behavior to humans. Yet, wolves are still carnivorous, wild animals, and they're surviving by seeking out whatever food is available and wherever they can actually satisfy their dietary needs. So this is instinctually driven, and it's like the most basic and natural drive. This is your base chakra still. You need to get it. You need to survive, right? You cannot think about anything else until you deal with this. So this is telling me that maybe you have lost touch with your instinctual sensitivities. That could be cultural or religious, programming. maybe family programming. Sometimes we are being told, well, this is the way you live life, this is how your family is, this is what we stand for, you know, like in Game of Thrones, Lancaster always pays his debts. Sometimes we have those paroles that we are always kind of like talking about this, but this is asking you, what do you really need, what do you really want, right? So this is telling me that this now the time to overcome the limited mindset and tune to your instinctual clues. Next time when you feel a little knot in the stomach or you feel a little bit resentfulness, ask yourself why. And ask yourself, what would you like to do in this situation? And try it. Hey, be rebellious, because here you're learning this lesson. You will know how to rebel. And here is still telling you, go back and now find your true, real instincts, right? Shed some of your inhibitions, and only thing that I say to you, do not harm, do not kill. You're not supposed to do all these things that the wolves do in the nature, right? So there is like urging of some sort to make action. So take some deep breaths and notice like your body sensations that kind of like go with this. It is kind of really important for you to kind of absorb this lesson, because this lesson is actually taking you to the next stage. This lesson is taking you to this light, which is one of the most important cards in this entire deck, right? And this particular light means you're getting this clarity. You know how I said you have to move from this chakra to this chakra. So this is happening, and look, you were dealing with something deep inside and buried and things that you dislike and maybe they're distasteful, and now you're able to look up. You're able to let this light beams start to penetrate. This, like all instincts, everything that we had in us is coming back. Of course, whenever I see this card, I always think of the wolf of the Wall Street. Of course, he was like different kind of an animal, but the movie is great to understand your instinctual kind of urges. Sometimes you really feel this is the path I want to take. So you might actually start reassessing certain things, that maybe something you were doing, direction you were going into, maybe didn't bear results, didn't bear fruit. And you're going to be really, really looking into everything that didn't work and everything that did work. So you'll be celebrating your successes, and you'll also be cutting your losses. Literally, you guys are not going to even recognize yourself over here. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And then in the fourth quarter, you're getting into, well, rainbow. So rainbow is created by collaboration of sunlight and water, right? So again, you have this repetition of water, and you have a repetition of you, a repetition of sunlight and water. There is a combination. You are like really, really involved here to create something spectacular, right? So rainbows symbolize many, many things, as you know, right? But I guess good luck, bridge to heaven, abundance, right? But one thing is for sure, whenever you look at them, you just cannot ignore the majesty of a rainbow and the gentle power. We are simply mesmerized. Even the little one that you see when you're washing your car, you still stand and look at it. It's spectacular. Seeing the nature, telling you, these are my basics. These are the colors that you get out of it. So, guys, the storm has passed. Maybe you didn't have a huge storm this year. Maybe you did this in 2017 already. But now it's gone. It's time to enjoy the refreshing beauty. It's time to enjoy a new cycle, and even, appreciate all the sense of purposefulness that maybe you lost in the process. So you can now, what they say, count your blessings. Just don't, look at the brighter side, adhering to some academic mantra, right, that has no heart or depth. Don't go into this year following all this like I shall be, I'll do that, and all this kind of other positive stuff, because that doesn't work. It just makes you more frustrated, and it's like not keeping you in your path. Remember, your path is your instinct. You already know where you should be. Your karma knows where it's guiding you. So your karma is taking you really down to kind of like go deep and emotionally decide what you want. Then you are like resurfacing by actually learning this and saying, yay, I am ready. And then you're going in a completely new phase, a new phase that is kind of shedding things that are not on your path. And then here, it's a blessing. It's an opportunity to exist as a human being on earth. So this is something really that you guys are being rewarded for, you know? So give your blessings. This is literally one of those cards in this deck that doesn't have any special, basically, learning with this attached, but it's just asking you to kind of really understand what you need to do. Here, your transformation is going to be fully finished. It is reversed. And you are moving into next phases of the new start. Look at this. Trust. Trust yourself. This is not to trust anybody else but yourself. It is time to open your arms wide, because look at this. The light is getting through you. And finally, of course, it's going to take the entire year. It's going to take until the very last quarter and very last month. So we are talking December of 2018, and you're finally getting it. You're not going to be clinging to the past anymore. Everything that maybe was and is upsetting you right now, and you feel kind of boxed in, you feel like you're part of this box. And by the way, if you study Kabbalah, they're going to tell you, we live in a box. You need to learn how to get out of the box. This is the entire principle of Kabbalah. And you're getting there, not by studying, even though some of you might do it, but simply by opening up. And there you go. There it's happening. You're opening your crown chakra here. So you're doing this full circle from the base to the crown. From the base to the crown. This, guys, means you are moving on a higher level of a spiritual being. I did get for you some side messages as well, and I decided to keep it. So we have like 3, let's call them negatives. So something is not going to be as fast as you want. You will realize that you're going in some kind of spiritual dimension, but you will not really know what is this all about. Interestingly enough, this is basically the same card. It talks about joy and celebration, but it was reversed. So you will kind of like really be choosy about who and what you do. And I think this is the time of reckoning, because look at this, you have shadow. You have to, again, and I think this is coming with these cards, but this is again saying, if you haven't done any of this work, this is still going to ask you one more time to do it. Face your shadow. See these parts of you that you resent. See, if you don't see which parts of you resent, see what you resent in the other people, because this is something that exists in you. And then release. Release it. This is the judgment card in the other decks. It's saying, look, it doesn't matter. You carry this on for way too long. Let it go. And it is a good one. You're going to get it. You're going to get it fully. You're getting 2 majors to kind of like seal your general overview. So Cancer, what I'm doing next, we are going to go through the houses. And each house is going to tell us what basically you'll be experiencing in certain segment of your life. AG, career, love, marriages. And so we can see which segments will need more work, which segments you're going to have more light. By the way, this is also the card of a Fool, which is new beginning, new positivity, this rainbow. Like the last 3 months, come fall, you guys will be just celebrating. Right, Zev? Love, Cancer? Okay, so let me shuffle the cards for you, and then we are going to check your houses, my dear Cancer. here we are going through astrological houses. The house number 1 is talking about awareness of self and where you're heading, your appearance, outward personality. So you're actually going to be King of Pentacles, kind of like gorgeous, solid. There is like this very kind of like stone-based throne over here. And King of Pentacles is somebody who is really working hard. Remember how you had this challenge about working on your foundations. Maybe you'll be dressing a little bit differently. Maybe you're going to dress very conservatively and kind of like really spend time kind of like thinking about your savings and making sure that you project the right image. Sort of like it's going to be really important for you in order to kind of like have this like, I mean, go for the kill kind of like thing. The second house, which kind of maybe links with this one, is the house of what they call it, I have. Money, possessions, values, and skills. So what got so hard? Whose ideas and whose morals and whose values? Remember we had that in the general reading. What are you carrying, Cancer? Look at that. This has finished a long time ago and you're still carrying some burdens. Long time ago that something happened. So this is again telling me that there has been some kind of programming, whether this is like your religion, it is your family, it is your work, where you work. You're simply taking on too much, guys. And this is telling me it is a time to realize that you need to stand up and you need to kind of like be who you really are. And kind of like it's also giving me that instinctual thing. You're doing something that you're programmed to do. Maybe somebody who is a father has this authority figure influence over you. Maybe a certain thing is really, really happening. Now, this is the house number 3, which is, I call it, I think. And it's mental activity, learning, siblings, and communication. Oh my God, guys. You are on your path to find a soulmate. This is this twin flame, soulmate, call it whatever, right? So this will be somebody who is just completely fresh and new, but this will be something really important. For those of you who are married, this is going to be a stellar year. It's going to push you to a completely new level, rediscovering your partner. For those of you who are basically maybe disconnected from your siblings, this is going to be time to really kind of like realize, hey, we have come to this planet to be siblings for a reason. And you'll be establishing this mental kind of like realization that this is meant to be. And you will try to get to know them more. Even though I would feel that some of the siblings turn their back to you, or maybe you haven't been fully true to them. Because in the house number 5, which is the home, parents, roots, inner security, this is my I nurture house. This will be the King of Cups reversed. This is somebody who is not really sharing himself. Maybe your parents were strictarians, as I call them. Maybe you have learned since you were very young that you know, you have to find your own security. Maybe this is why you're more or less comfortable this year to be King of Pentacles and sit on the throne. Is somebody who is really hardworking, versus this is somebody who says a lot, but he doesn't do much. Maybe somebody betrayed you and the promises haven't been given. And as I'm seeing, kind of, it's really important to kind of establish certain things. We did see that in the third quarter, it's going to be kind of like readjustment of your instinctual values. And this goes both ways for you guys. Maybe somebody saddled you with things, with obligations, and now you're realizing that there maybe is another way, and that you maybe don't have to follow certain mantras or systems that you have been following all along. You're again having the Fool here. And this is in the house number 5, and this is your romance, children, fun, and creativity. This is going to do well. Some of you are restarting. Some of you are on the path to have a pregnancy year. Some of you see this doggy here? And we are in the year of the dog. This doggy means actual society, things that are holding us back. You are not allowing these things to hold you back. Here you're graduating. Your relationships are going to be amazing. You are looking at the shooting star. You are sort of like saying, Oh my gosh, I'm so worthy. I've just like seen something really, really spectacular, right? So it is taking in light. You're getting rid of old stuff, all non-productive stuff, somebody else's beliefs. You see here how many stacks he has? Now he has only one. It is kind of important to move forward. He's fully understand about the freedom he has and he wants to have, and he's like full of potential. Then we are coming to the house number 6, which is work, health, service, and self-improvement. And we have these 2 of Pentacles, which is kind of like right now demonstration, right? And you're showing how resourceful you are. This is kind of like kicking in with how you're appearing. Because look at this. Here we have the audience. You see here, like this jester is demonstrating like this, juggling on one foot and saying, look what I have. And it is a skill. You're like demonstrating amazing skill, and you're becoming really, really good and becoming noticed by the others, right? As far as marriages and other partnerships, you're having Hermit. And this is kind of really interesting because you see in this stage Hermit is going to this mountain and trying to find the answers for himself. In this particular stage here, you're facing that unknown, that submerge, right? Because Hermit doesn't go to this mountain because he loves to be in rags in a cold environment surrounded by strange creatures, right? He goes here because he's going on a vision quest. You see, this is kind of like the moon here. That's basically the Empress shining here, over here, which who you actually have over here. So what is basically happening here is like that he's turning to the sun. He's turning to completely new ideas. This is what you had as instinctual. For you, this, some of you, that can mean that you're going to find a newfound romance in your marriage. For the others, it might be a start of something new, because I definitely see starts. I see start. I see new motion. I see to a next level. But I see on the next level of you as well. You are becoming the next level of you guys. You're becoming Cancer 2.0. So there is like this next level going in the house of sex. That was the house of Scorpio. Sex, death, letting go, regeneration, other people's money and sharing. So what better describes this as marriage, moving in together, like becoming steady. And this is now because you know what you want. You know which, remember how you had this card light? There you go. You're going toward this light. This is happening in the 3rd quarter, guys. 3rd or 4th quarter. Oh my gosh, you're going to be happy. Sex, marriage, moving in together, kind of commitment is going to be name of the day. So let's go to these 2 warning signs that I have here. 2 and 3 of Swords. So this is in your 9th and 10th house. This is like higher education, philosophy, publishing, and religion and travel. You're kind of going to kind of allow others to guide in this direction. It's going to be big unknown, and you're not going to be really doing it yourself. I think this year is more or less for you to be really instinctual, to kind of really go deep and find within yourself your truth, because that's why you have both the Fool and the Hermit over here. So this is kind of interesting because this is in your career, status, reputation, purpose, taking power. You might get rejected. You might lose it to somebody else. And that should be okay. You should understand if this happens and looks like you're like making it until you get it, then you have to understand that's why all this kind of cleansing and all these exercises, all these messages they were getting is happening for a reason. You are supposed to learn a big message that you shouldn't be faking it. Just be who you are. You need to learn how to turn this guy here around, how to not to carry burdens of the others. Help others is one thing. Carrying them burdens, that's completely another thing. Because in this house of the aspiration, and this is like that 11th house of friends and groups and goals and aspirations, it's going to be kind of like lots of things happening. Even though I think they wanted this to look like a tree, I always cannot help myself and I see that as a nuclear explosion. especially because I see a school over here. So the Empress, who is this gorgeous being, as you can see, just like in a soulmate, that is a perfect woman, almost like somebody that almost cannot exist because she's so perfect, is maybe getting redefined. So if you're a woman, this is definitely asking you to nuke, as I always explore this as a nuke, things that don't work, to go above the issues and raise above the issues. Don't go and don't involve in petty arguments. This is, guys, talking about your friends. You will be redefining who the friends are, and to regrow new friendship, and to bury the ones that didn't work. So you have to kind of like stretch this path. You have to kind of separate good from bad weed, right? Lastly, your basically spiritual life, your I dream house number 12, which is solitude, which kind of like you came here with hermit and institutions and self-sabotage, is coming in the Page of Cups. So even though you kind of like want to present yourself as successful, possibly banker, possibly a winemaker, maybe it's going to be a new profession, even a stockbroker will be covered here, real estate, anything that has to do with basically finer things in life and things that we really enjoy in this 3D world. But sometimes you will sabotage yourself and not to kind of like really go to the best you can be, because you impress people and then you are not up to a task. Be very careful of that. If you commit yourself to something, then commit yourself to growth. Commit yourself to sit on this throne. Commit, and this is maybe why rejection would happen in your career, because maybe you fell short of being the way that maybe you were perceived. So keep in mind that fake it until make it doesn't really work, because again, you end up in this kind of situation. What's up, Safi? You love cancers? So this is the kind of like only kind of caveat I have, like it's going to be in your work life, that you really have to figure out your sea legs. Don't fake it. Just open yourself up to learning. Open yourself up to asking your boss to be your mentor, you know? And same thing for you. Don't turn back to the other people. Maybe you have learned through your parents that they didn't open the doors for you. They really didn't give you this embrace that maybe you wanted to have. So now is the time for you to remember you had this karma card, to change that karma. Not only for you, but for many generations to come. So guys, nothing wrong of being this King of Pentacles. Even better yet, being both of them, because this is who you are supposed to be. And saying to yourself, you know what? I will get there, and I will take whatever I need to take, get all these mentors and new tries and new venues, but I'm going to turn this around and kind of like change this, because this king here is basically gentle and quiet and loving and has time for the others. This guy here is a workaholic. He works all the time. He's like sort of CEO of a company. He's pushing and pushing and pushing. And I can see that you have that. It's going to be this trajectory of going really, really fast. But this can also result with you guys taking too much on, and that's not ending well. So the next we're going to check Lenormand for a year, so we can see these major circumstances and things that can come your way, so I can warn you about different situations and different options. Cancer. So this is going to be interesting. Like the gentleman is here and the lady is here. Both of them are significators and both of them can apply onto you. So I'm just going to give you certain different circumstances, opportunities and warnings that maybe you should look for in the upcoming year. So first of all, some of you will meet karma. Remember, we have seen it. It keeps repeating. And it's going to be in some kind of communication. It's going to be in your love segment. Something maybe even comes back from the past to be cleared once forever. Maybe it's going to be really, really that important. The others of you are really learning to be your true self. You know, Cancers, how loyal you are. You kind of like are really also very, very sexual. And it might be lots of temptations for you. I have to say, especially if you are in relationships of the same sex, that's going to be absolutely super hot. But even if you're not, ladies are going to have more fun in that department than the gentlemen. Gentlemen Cancers will have to learn more lesson about being wise in love and what needs to be cut off in order to get to that light which you had there, the sun, the house, and the ring. So it looks like some of you are heading into this marriage, as I said, the next level. The package deal is right there. Marriage with a house and with a child. Off you go. The wedding ceremony over here. But for the other ones, might be sort of a shotgun wedding, if you wish. It's going to be so much fun that somebody's going to forget to make a small investment. And that's not only just for the two ladies or for two guys. I'm talking about going to be two different streams of Cancers. You will have to learn how to deal with issues at work. And again, I see it. Or with some kind of nagging. Like, I mean, your health has to be taken care of. Go and make sure you have a medical checkup. It is really, really important. Now, I see that majority of the issues, the biggest, the worst part is sort of behind, but is still going to be very present. The mountain over here really reminds me like you had the mountain in a few cards, and this is also iceberg. It's sort of a mountain as well. So this is definitely pertinent to your second quarter, which is going to maybe be dedication to some kind of study, to some kind of learning. It could be even a government job, some kind of training, but it could be even something that is really not even the same city where you are. Something that is going to be very beneficial for you for many, many years to come. For about 10 to 15 years, something that you will embark on. Remember how I said, like, I mean, faking until you make it, it's not going to work, because this kind of requires dedication. This also could be online study in a completely different country. It could be in a country with mountains that you kind of enroll in, maybe online university or online study like that. In any case, it's kind of weird because the ship and anchor is together. So it means you might go somewhere and stay there, right? It's not going to be just like visit and coming back. It's literally kind of like establishing yourself, getting there. For some of you, this is maybe going to be an entrepreneurial venture, something that might be export-import as well. And even, believe it or not, it can involve cheese. The only kind of caveat that I see here is that some of you might have a third person kicking in who might be eroding your relationship. Remember how I said, sometimes lovingly, you will actually take these relationships to the surface and just to deal with this once for all. Like, right? If something is working, great. If something is not working, well, you know, you'll be ready to let go of this. This is going to be one of those years that you're going to just no more play, you know, game with destiny. Karma is here, and you are going to say, you know what, Karma, maybe I haven't been the best subject, maybe I haven't been the best student, but here I am. I'm standing and I want to learn, and please help me and help me decide who is good for me and who is not good for me. And you're not going to feel big sadness about it. I see here cutting things off, no problem, because you are dedicated to finding something that is really tried and true for you. And it might be a little foggy because this is in your karma house as well. Kind of like it's going to be a little bit of issues how to get there. You know, like sometimes when you're in a fog, you're tapping to the dark and it's kind of like gets fuzzy. The gentleman's in a house of the house. So male Cancers or your partner will be actually more eager to settle down. and to actually have that. You Cancers, you really love your home. Home, family, they're like really two very important things. So you really have to figure out if there was somebody in your family that was disintegrating you, because that's the person that you need to clear off, because that energy did not let you to shine. But like you are getting into kind of rebuilding yourself and building yourself in a completely new reputation. The ladies are falling in the house of the key. Where is the key? I just saw the key somewhere. The key? The ring? Nope. There is the key. This is even better. It's like really, and the key is falling in the house of a fish. So definitely some kind of like new loyalties. Communications are going to be important. Ladies are going to be more foggy this year about what's going on. It's more or less going to be go with the flow. But you know what? I think that's okay, because it's going to result really well. It's going to actually be that instinctual that you're going to develop. This is like the 12th card over here. Yeah, it could be fog, it could be mountain, but you actually ended up with this bouquet and the garden, and this is like really positive, some amazingly pleasant surprise. Possible dating, as I'm saying, is going to be lots of sex. It could be some really, really kinky sex that kind of ends up in some gorgeous kind of result with the son and the child. So I really like what I see. So Cancer, to see love, I'm going to pull a couple of cards, one from this deck, which is called the Enchanted Map, just to see as a general guide. Cancer 2018. Unexpected visitors. This is one of the better cards. And a second one is going to be from Wisdom of the Oracle. And we have Observer. So let's start with the Observer first. I'll read it for you. Observer. Most people see the world through a personal lens. They closely identify with their feelings and experiences, so much so that they come to believe that these are the only reality. There are times when you need distance in order to gain perspective and understand your circumstances from a more neutral vantage point. Now is one of those times in your life. This is a perfect moment for you to begin to do some exploring. Instead of only considering yourself, consider what you need to understand about the conditions, people, culture, and environment you're engaged with now. You're so happy, you'll be so happy you did. Illumination is the miracle you seek and will indeed find. Relationship message. Sometimes you just can't see the forest for all the trees in your way. Feelings can get all jumbled up, and often you hear one thing when a person says another. It can be like an echo of an unresolved past experience dubbed over your conversation. Take time out before you react. It's likely the other person has no idea how his or her words have affected you. Remember this iceberg? Take a few steps back and lend understanding to the situation. Have faith in your connection and trust that you can come together. Take to higher ground now and cultivate curiosity about what you observe in yourself, in others, and in the landscape. You will find things much improved sooner than you know. Very positive. And here we have unexpected visitors. And it's in the upright situation in here. It says, if you expect the unexpected, you'll be prepared for miracles. These miracles keep coming in your reading, like in every single spread I did. So this is what it says. Detours, surprises, and paradigm shifts. Expect the unexpected. No matter how detailed your plans are and how clear you believe your road ahead to be, there are times when the best plans are waylaid by unforeseen circumstances. At first, detours may seem inconvenient, but a surprise turn of events signals that the adventure of life is beginning to get interesting. No one can plan for synchronicity. For fate and destiny to meet, expect spirit. Who knows what you can't comprehend for now? Life is full of surprises, so stay on your toes and enjoy this exciting new adventure you weren't expecting. There's a plan for your life that might not match up with your agenda. So guys, buckle up. Ride is going to be, and by the time 2018 is over, you're not going to recognize yourself. You're going to be such a new, different prototype, Cancer 2.0. So thank you very much again for purchasing this annual reading. I really appreciate your patronage, and I also hope to see you back on the site. And if you guys want a personal reading, check my website, www.cattarot.ca. Until the next time, love you, Cancer.